There's also cultural limits. We've all heard the thing, money doesn't grow on trees,
Hmm.
or you have to work really hard for money, or rich people are X, greedy, dishonest, whatever it is.
Right.
So think about it. If I've heard that, whether I heard it from my parents or I heard it just culturally, if I've heard that as a young child, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be dishonest. I don't want to be a bad person. So what am I going to do? I'm going to unconsciously block money from coming to me.
Wow. Welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, the podcast that will equip both the seasoned sales professional and the more reluctant seller with mindset shifts and strategies needed to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Well, welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, everyone. I am so delighted to be here once again. And today I have for you Lisa Kalmin. And I tell you what, I had the opportunity of interacting with her on another podcast, basically, another, it's kind of like a panel. And the moment that we interacted, I was like, I want to talk to her. So I'm delighted to share Lisa with you. And Lisa, first of all, welcome. And
Thank you.
what I
So
would love for you to do, if you would, is to share with the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do, but most importantly, tell us something that we're not going to read about you on your bio or on your website.
Okay, I love that. Thank you.
For sure.
Well, thank you, Tish. I'm so honored to be here and am so thrilled to make any kind of difference I can with your community. Again, my name is Lisa Kalmin. I am a transformational trainer and coach. I actually been doing mindset work for 38 years. So I've been doing this a long time. I have an MBA, I have a financial background. What is on my bio that's surprising is that I am the mom of 15-year-old twins. And I always say I have them. I didn't have them, but I have them, meaning I didn't birth them. And what's not on my bio is that I am a Friends fanatic. Like if there's anything I ever get caught on social media, it's Friends clips,
Oh
and
my
I'm just a little nerd that way.
God. So I,
So, and I've taken a deep dive into uh, money and why particularly entrepreneurs and business owners have a money block in it's really mindset more than anything. So.
well, I have been excited to have this conversation, like I said, from the moment I met you, and I'm excited all over again because I know that we have so many things to dive into. Because as an entrepreneur for, good gracious, 20 some years now, I can't even tell you how many years it's been, I know for myself personally, I've had this issue and I encounter people that deal with this all the time. So, Lisa, tell me what made you kind of dive into that aspect of business and really dealing with the money blocks that entrepreneurs have?
Yeah, thank you. Well, what's interesting is I've been training and teaching mindset for, like I said, decades, but it's kind of generalized and it's deep work, but people have new levels and breakthroughs in relationship and health and business and finance in every area. And honestly, what got me here is my own inconsistency as a entrepreneur, as a business owner with money. Like there would be times when money would just flow for me, and I'd be like, yeah. And then be times I'd be working just as hard, I would be efforting just as much, my heart was in the right place, and money was scarce. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I just used my own like background to dive deep into what is it about money and how we relate to money and our relationship with money that gets in the way of us opening that flow of money. So that's how I got here. And it
Wow.
just kind of grew, and it really opens up something for people.
For sure. I'm trying to like calm my mind right now because all these questions are pinging for me. And I'm like, I can't ask them all at once. So I'm going to try to pin them and come back to them one by one. So,
Okay.
my first, probably the question that most people are probably thinking about right now is how do you think money blocks affect how people sell as entrepreneurs in their business?
Absolutely. So the money blocks, and let me briefly say what is money. And we talk about money oftentimes and what it can bring us, freedom, financial security, etc. That's true.
Right.
And money itself is an exchange of value, and it's an exchange of energetic value. So if we think about money 400 or 500 years ago, it was, they traded things like felts, furs, pelts, not felts, furs, pelts, spices, maybe tea and coffee.
Right.
Then it was coin, like trading coin, like copper, bronze, gold, silver. And then it was this paper stuff called cash. I still like cash. Then we had checks. You might remember your parents using
Yeah.
checks.
I
And
remember
then
using
these little
checks.
plastic things called credit cards and debit cards. And now money is right here. It's on
Yeah.
our phone.
Yeah.
We just use our phone.
Right.
And in my Whole Foods, I live in Southern California. In my Whole Foods, you can literally put your palm on a device
Yeah. I refuse,
and
but yeah, you
and
can.
it charges.
Yeah.
So, and e-currency, things like that. So money isn't really anything we necessarily hold anymore.
Right.
It's an exchange of energy. And if we break everything down to our smallest particle, it's energy. And if everything is energy, including money, it can be attracted and it can flow. And that's
Yeah.
where I got excited. It can be
Yeah.
attracted and it can flow.
Yeah.
Now, you asked the question, what gets in the way of entrepreneurs, especially in sales? Well, our past programming, as you know, and have worked with so many salespeople about, and our upbringing has a lot to do with the filters we have around money.
Right.
So I work with people about, okay, first of all, take a look when you were very young, like literally 0 to 10 years old. What were the messages and the modeling you got around money from your family of origin? Your parents, your grandparents, your culture, your aunties, your uncles, your neighborhood. What were those messages? Because if you start diving into what those messages are, you'll start to see some limits that you might have taken on.
Yeah.
There's also cultural limits. We've all heard the thing, money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work really hard for money, or rich people are X,
Yeah.
greedy, dishonest, whatever it is.
Right.
So think about it. If I've heard that, whether I heard it from my parents or I heard it just culturally, if I've heard that as a young child, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be dishonest. I don't want to be a bad person. So what am I going to do? I'm going to unconsciously block money from coming to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
My
that's
goodness.
really, in my experience, whether people in sales, business owners, sometimes even, you know, uh, people who work in a salary job who could be making more money by
Right.
by getting promoted end up with this invisible ceiling because of these hidden limiting beliefs, these unconscious, subconscious beliefs.
Okay. I'm about to literally cast all of my questions away because I have all brand new ones right now.
Okay, great,
and
great.
and let me tell you why. Number one, the one thing that I'm very clear on is, when you said that money is energy, a flow. That word currency, when you think about a current, how it's supposed to flow, it's supposed to have an in and an out, right? It's supposed to be able to move freely. However, just based on what you said, I'm very clear also that we can block it, which, almost like we put up a dam in the middle of the current, and not allow it to flow freely. I just recently wrote, Lisa, a chapter in an anthology book called Six Figure Chicks. And
Oh, wow.
it's these very successful businesswomen who come together and write these books that a person by the name of Mel Carr kind of creates this environment, this movement for us to be able to express ourselves.
Oh,
I fought with myself because my chapter took me forever to just get it on paper because I had it in my heart to really share my story about money. And I had never shared it out loud before. And my story was about financial anxiety. And exactly what you just said, all of the things that you just mentioned, I can literally are coming in front of me because I've experienced that and understood how it has impacted my business as well. So number one, I'm so delighted that you're here to kind of, crack this wide open for people who are probably dealing with this or something similar or are not even clear that this is probably the issue. So I'm going to go deep and then we're going to come back because I know there's a lot more between the answer to this. But how do you in your business help people? Number one, if they can't even see that this is a problem, to identify it. And then once they actually identify it, how do you help them to get past it so that they can have the level of success that they desire and aspire to and probably really deserve, but don't know that they can have it?
Absolutely. Great, great, great question. So thankfully, I have been working with people about their subconscious and unconscious blocks for many years in all areas.
Right.
So through a series of questions and examining things and working and I happen to be really good at listening to people's both the language and energy they put out to kind of find the parts to dive into when I work with people. And really through that, they can uncover this. So one just very simple thing your folks can do off of this podcast that we're on is start journaling. What were the messages, both verbal and modeled, that you received around money?
Right.
Again, as a child. So let me give you just a quick example. I had someone once tell me, like, well, my parents never talked about money, but when I went to sleep, they argued about money.
Wow.
So I had this awareness that, oh my God, money creates conflict.
Yeah.
Money makes people fight.
Yeah.
My dad, oh my God bless him, he's such a sweetheart. He wouldn't say anything, but in the 1970s, I'm old.
I'm 72.
It was quote the oil crisis. I don't know how crisis it was, but he would walk around behind me and turn off the lights.
Yeah.
Like he'd never say anything, but if I left a room and had a light on, he'd turn it off. So I got this message that, oh, it must be scarce. So it really do your own sort of digging. Like maybe you were told, hey, rich people are crappier. You got to work hard. Or, women, this is a big deal with women. You'll probably never earn as much as your dad or your brother or stuff like that, both
Right.
verbal and modeled. So I have people uncover that. And then we also look at their set point, what we call their financial set point. And if you think about, and you've probably heard this analogy, a thermometer goes up and down based on the conditions. If it's hot, it's up. It's cold, it's down. A thermostat sets the conditions around it.
Right.
We have a money thermostat, meaning think about it. If you're listening to this, where do you have patterns in money? Like you make different amount of money every month, but you end up with the same amount left over, whether
Right.
it's in your business or personally,
Right.
or you always end up with the same amount coming in no matter what you do. Or maybe you have a debt set point. And I've had this happen where my debt gets high, I get uncomfortable, I get it down, and then something breaks.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, I've got to go buy a water heater or something big.
Right.
Same thing with savings. I get the savings to a certain place, or you get the savings to a certain place, and then, oh my gosh, you got to spend it on a new set of tires or something.
Right.
So, so in that, I then work with people to uncover it and see it and replace it with some beliefs that are affirming. And I use some traditional things like affirmations and vision boards, but I have a different spin on it to make it work better because a lot of people have a lot of I would say suspicion or cognitive dissonance around affirmations
Right.
and stuff like that.
Right, right. Have you ever gone to a networking event or a conference and found that although you made great connections and you walked away with a stack full of business cards, you still didn't have a real plan for how to get a good return on your investment of both time and money? Well, let me tell you, having a networking and sales planner is a way for you to be more intentional about the way that you network.
Hey, I'm Susan Gladstein. I'm a functional nutrition and metabolism specialist, and I got connected with Tish because she is a rock star at systems and sales, and so I downloaded the planner to help get my brain organized as I went through a rebrand and launched a new course, and it's really helped me sort of get things out of my head and onto paper so that I can actually do follow-ups and not just rely on my brain. So far it's rocking my world and making my business systems that were non-existent actually have some sort of structure. So I love it. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed.
I've been working with sales professionals for almost 15 years. And one of the things that I find is that when they don't have a plan, they do nothing. They sit at their desk and wonder what to do. Well, with this networking and sales planner, you have profit producing activities for every single day of the week. It tells you where to go, what to say, even gives you prompts as to how to interact with people that you don't know. If you're an introvert and you feel like this isn't for you, I have already thought of you because I understand exactly how introverts think. So this gives you the tools enabling you to be armed with words, with language, so that you can make your networking more profitable.
Hey everyone, Rachel Neighbors here from solo401k.com, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about how awesome this sales networking planner is that Tish put out. So as you can see, I have it on my Remarkable. That's my sort of e-ink planner, and this sales planner has been so helpful for me. So I'm an old school pay-per-click marketer. I do Google ads, Facebook ads, and I know how to turn advertising into profit. But I didn't know how to turn network sales into profit. And when I met Tish, this woman literally wrote the book on networking called, Networking is Not a One-Night Stand. And she's put that experience and that energy and those valuable tips into this networking sales planner. And I just think that it can be so powerful for you in your business. I know it's been really helpful for me and mine. One thing that Tish told me is, Rachel, when you meet someone, put them into your planner and then follow up with them like they're a lead that you've generated on Google Ads or that you followed up with or that you've generated on Facebook. And that has been so helpful and transformative in my business. So thank you, Tish, for this awesome planner.
Maybe you don't even like networking. You say things like, networking doesn't work. Well, let me tell you, when you have a plan in place, you have some intention, and you have the tools to be able to make it work, you will see a different result. My new networking and sales planner is a game changer. It's the difference between you going to an event, wandering around and walking away without any purpose and without any new money, and walking into an event with a plan, with a purpose, and being able to convert new clients into your business. No one wants to feel inauthentic and pushy or even salesy when following up. So frequently we just don't do it at all. Well, the profitable follow-up formula, which is in the back of your networking and sales planner, will give you the tools and the language and the frequency with which you should be following up so that it feels very authentic. It feels genuine and natural both to you and to the people that you're reaching out to. Go to tishtimes.com/planner to get your digital or physical version of your planner.
Hi, my name is Cheryl James from CL James Consulting, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how awesome this networking sales planner is. I started intentionally networking at the beginning of this year, and I have been using my planner on a regular basis, not only to get inspiration, but to track the people I want to meet and the people I have met, and to make sure that I follow up with them from week to week. So if you are looking to network intentionally and hold yourself accountable, this planner is a must-have.
And once you get your planner, you'll also receive a video series that's going to teach you how to maximize your networking and how to use this planner to get the best result and best return on your investment of both time and money. If you are ready to stop wasting time with networking and turn your networking into a sales machine, then go to tishtimes.com/planner and grab your networking and sales planner. I think I want to talk to the audience for just a second, Lisa, because I think that this conversation could be so pivotal in the lives of any entrepreneur who is wondering why they're only making a certain amount of money, why they're not closing many sales, or if they're like me in years past, they find themselves, like you said, getting to a certain place in their finances and then self-sabotaging it all the way back down to their set point, to their comfort zone, right? And so I find that people who struggle with money beliefs or their understanding or thoughts around money also have a really difficult time charging what they're worth They have a very difficult time having conversations. Like, they can talk about the technical pieces of what they do for hours, but the moment it's time to have the conversation around how much am I going to charge for this particular product or service, they literally almost disappear into themselves. And which means people lose confidence. They don't believe that they can actually deliver the service or product based on the way that they're speaking or talking about it. And they find themselves kind of flailing in their business almost to the point where they end up closing down. So this conversation, for those of you who are listening going, I thought we were talking about sales. We are absolutely talking about sales. And this is such an important part of sales, because we'll never ask for what we ought to ask for if we don't see ourselves as, I would say, the master of money instead of almost like the slave to money. So tell me, what types of things, beyond what you've kind of described how you work with clients, what are some of the things, and let me even ask it this way, who have you had to become, Lisa, in order to really stand in your expertise in this area that obviously has been a issue for you in the past based on what you've said? Who did you have to become to be able to talk with such authority on this topic now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that. Nobody's asked me that, so I love it. Love it. Thank you for your insight. So let me just say something about the asking for. There's two pieces, and I would imagine that you have a fair amount of your community that are women.
Yes.
And let me just say, for the women listening, you have been downloaded a cultural conversation, and we're not on the other side of it. We certainly have taken ground. We're certainly aware that, I think women still make about 77% of what men make for the same
Right.
work and positions. So we've got to stop buying into whatever that was. We've got to just stop buying into it. Not from a place of reaction, because then we get, I'm going to just say the word kind of bitchy. We get a little bit like that, but from owning who we are. So there is a deep-rooted value conversation. So who I had to become, I had, thankfully, and I had this whole going on in my career for the first, I think, decade at least. I had so much evidence that I impacted people and that I could deeply get in with people that I feel really good in front of people. I feel really good when I'm with people, whether it's one-on-one, in a group. And I don't mean good like better. I just mean that feels like my zone of genius. It feels like I'm in the purpose I'm supposed to be in. So what I would say to people is, first of all, love what you do. Love what you do. And if you love what you do and you bring value to people and you are, I would say, outwardly focused on the impact you can make with people, then that confidence to ask for what you're worth is going to come easier. If you doubt yourself, obviously that's going to show up in your energy, or you doubt what you bring to the party, then that's going to show up. And I always say, overgive the value. And Tish, as I said, I've listened to your podcast. You absolutely, like, I told her I was listening to her podcast. I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Like, I was writing stuff down so fast. So that's, so I really had to get over myself and also just start risking and playing in bigger ponds. Because every time I do something that I've never done before, I am freaking out, uncomfortable. And that's how I grow.
Love this. So this question is going to help a lot of people who probably sell to a lot of people who are similar to your clients, right? People that would need your help. So how do you overcome the objections from the person who doesn't realize that their real objection is a money block and they just see it as I don't have the money or I'm not ready? How do you overcome that? Because there are so many people who are selling to others who are saying no or not yet, or let me think about it and all these things. But what they're really saying on the inside is that I am afraid because ...
Yeah, good. Very good. Well, first of all, I want to remind people, I wrote a book called The Problem is How You See the Problem. Okay, the problem is how you see the problem. So I want to say to anyone selling and when my people have objections, I always know it's never what they're telling me.
Right.
The what's going on is never what's coming out of their mouth. There's always understory or a fear or a concern. So whether it's a woman who is afraid to go tell her husband or ask her husband or partner for the money, or I'm going to spend this money on this, or a woman who's like, I got to take care of the kids because she validates that way or gives her power away or whatever. Or it's a entrepreneur, and I've had this with many, both men and women. They're so busy. I'm so busy. I can't. Da, da, da. Well, they've set themselves up to be so needed and so valuable that they're afraid to delegate or empower. So what I would say is, as you're talking to people, I what drives me crazy, and this I'm sure drives you crazy too, is when I see people who are selling and then somebody gives them an objection and they go to the handbook of sales,
Yes.
how to
Yes.
overcome objections. And I just cringe. It's
Right.
just cringy for me. Rather than, wow, okay. So feels like you're really busy with your business and you can't invest right now. So let's talk about this. Like get in a discovery, curiosity conversation. If you ask enough questions, I guarantee you'll get to the guts of it.
For
And
sure.
then that's where people will make a choice and take action.
I love that. My favorite question, or it's not even a question, my favorite thing to say when people come up with a quote unquote objection is say more. Say more.
Exactly.
Because if you get them to talk about it, the likelihood is number one, they'll tell you exactly what the real problem is, but the likelihood is they'll talk themselves away from that objection because they'll realize, almost sometimes how ludicrous it sounds, but other times they'll realize that, wow, I didn't even know I was feeling this way. I didn't even know this was a problem for me. So yeah, getting them to talk is so important, right?
Exactly. And to add to that, I was going to say, if you can get them to talk about what the real quote issue is or problem, and then what is it costing them? Like, what's the impact in their vitality, their energy, their family, their whatever it is, their finances, it doesn't matter. But when they start looking at, oh my gosh, this thing that's in my way is costing me way too much, I get to go do something about it.
Yeah. Lisa, where would you say your confidence has come from? And maybe around money, but maybe just in general, because many of us start off in business, whether we're in sales, we're all in sales, but whether we call ourselves salespeople or not, almost faking it till we make it, trying to figure things out. And then at some point we step into that place of confidence. Where would you say your confidence has really come from?
Well, I think two places. If I look back to upbringing and childhood, I actually grew up as an only child. I was very loved by my parents, so
Yeah.
I'm so thankful I don't have trauma like so many people have, and it's heartbreaking. Uh, and I felt like my parents seemed to think I could do anything, and not from a place of like better than other people, just like, of course. So, of course, I was going to college, and of
Right.
course, I was going to be successful. And of course, like, there was just, they didn't say it, they didn't talk
Yeah.
about it. So, that's one piece. And I think the other place is, like so many people, I've started businesses, closed businesses, moved, had relationship breakdowns, breakups, etc. All of that, when you get back up and take a step forward and go again and go again and go again, pretty much, I think internally, each of us know we can make it. We can make it.
Yeah.
My favorite quote is, it is attributed to John Lennon, and I'm not totally sure it's him, but it's attributed to him, is that in the end, it will be okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Not done. There you go. I love that. Lisa, who would you say your dream client is? Maybe not a person per se, but who is the person that you can help? Every now and then I'm talking to someone and it's not a matter of, oh my God, I want to sell them something. It's like, oh my God, I can change their life. I can help them. Who's your ideal client from that perspective?
My ideal client is someone who is motivated to be the best they can be, whether it's in their relationships or family, and certainly financially, and that they are willing to look at themselves. And in other words, they're not so like I've met many a very successful person who is, and as you have probably, somewhat shut off, closed, not very open to other suggestions, coaching, or possibilities because they've been successful enough they feel like they don't need to. So I'm looking for that person who deep down knows there's something they can be better at and they can't quite figure out why. And willing and has some, I call it a vision, has a vision big enough, whether it's vision for their family, vision for the legacy they're going to leave, vision for the impact they're going to make. The vision is big enough to call them up into, you know what? I'm not going to just sit here and wait and let the world dictate my future. I'm going to be the captain of my ship.
Love that. What might that person be Googling right now in an effort to find you, but they don't know you exist yet?
Okay, they might be Googling, how do I be a better entrepreneur, or how do I, how do I navigate? This is mine right now. How do I navigate teenagers? I'm reading all the parent books. How do I make money in a difficult economic condition? Stuff like that.
Love it. Well, those who are Googling, now you know that you can actually find your solution right here. And I'd love it if you'd be willing to share the name of your book one more time and then tell our audience how they can reach you.
Yeah, couple things. The book is called The Problem is How You See the Problem. It's really short. It's on Amazon. I think of it as a handbook. You literally could pick it up and read any part of it and take some value. And I have a gift, and I'll make sure your people get this. I have a gift that is a money mindset quiz, and it gives you 30 questions to answer, and you just rate it, and then it'll give you another email that says, here's where you land, like money generator, money manager, money, whatever. And it's all I want to say, if you do the quiz, be authentic, be honest with it. You're the only person who's going to see it. I can't even see the results. So just so you know. And so that's a opportunity. And it also will lead you to my website, which is lisakalmin.com. lisakalmin.com. And I have another little ebook on there that is really short about how to make honey after the bee stings.
Love it. Well, Lisa.
In other words, how to take challenges and make them better.
I can appreciate that. Lisa, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This has been phenomenal. I know somebody was helped today with the knowledge and just all of the jewels you dropped for us today. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. And thank you. I love your questions. And I just want to say how seen I felt. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, I absolutely see you. And I want to see you again soon.
You bet.
For sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you stayed through the end of this podcast, you're probably different than when you started this podcast. I encourage you to go and connect with Lisa, take the quiz, get the book, all the things, because I know that what she shares is so valuable, and it's the issue that most people don't even realize is the issue. So we'll see you all next week on the Sold Out Sales Podcast. Have a great week and put something into action that you learned today. Thanks for listening to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. I would be so appreciative if you would show me and my amazing guests some love by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, go over to tishtimes.com/resource page and make sure you pick up your sales and networking handbook, especially for introverts. Also, I'd love to continue this conversation, so make sure you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'll see you back here next week.